Welcome to the Men After God podcast, where you will be challenged and encouraged as you pursue God, achieve success, and raise a thriving family. Join your host, Dustin, and his guests on a weekly journey to grow as husbands, fathers, and men after God. Here is your host, Dustin Alley.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Men After God podcast. I'm excited to be with you today because we have got a guest that has indirectly impacted my life in such a major way. When we started this, I knew I've got to get this guy on here because you've got to hear from him. His life is just an amazing story, what God has done with it and how he has obeyed God through ministry and then utilizing business for ministry. If there was a perfect candidate to exemplify like what we want to see every man listening to this podcast to do, man, Cory really hits that. As someone who has succeeded in life, he has a thriving faith and is following Jesus and just an amazing family. Great story there. I know he'll share about his daughter and how she utilized this business model in her life. And so I can't wait for you to hear from him today. Let's go ahead and jump into the conversation. Cory, thank you so much for being here, man. Just take a couple minutes, introduce yourself, talk about that family we mentioned, and then talk about, from Texas, right?
Yeah, man. Gotta be from Texas. Yeah.
So are you a college football fan?
Well, of course.
Which one's your favorite team?
How can you not be a football fan and be from Texas?
That's true. That I think that's a prerequisite. At birth, is it on the birth certificate? You got to choose your teams?
It's written in there. Friday night, literally, I grew up in a little bitty tiny town of Fort Send, Texas, and there wasn't anything open. I mean, everybody was at the football game on Friday nights. So
that is awesome.
True Friday night lights. That's how. In fact, that's where out in that area of Texas is where I'm from.
Oh, wow. Okay. And now, did you play any sports growing up?
I played everything.
Oh, really?
A little tiny school, dude. I played everything. I played football until the doctor said I couldn't play anymore because I kept breaking bones. Played basketball all the way through. Played tennis. I don't know. I was involved in everything. Everything I could be involved in. I mean, some of the seasons didn't work out, but
yeah, I'm sure. Right. It just sounds like that same entrepreneur spirit you've carried with you of like, hey, I'm just going to go try this. I'm going to do this. This will be fun. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And so now tell us about your family. Tell us about your lovely wife and then your daughter.
Yeah. So got married 27 years ago. So we come up on 28 in November, which we're really excited about.
All right.
We've got one kiddo that is ours. She actually just had a birthday this week.
Okay.
And we got to see her. She came up to see us just to kind of spend some time. She's now out of college and graduated out, and she is a lead CT tech at a hospital in the mountains of Colorado.
Oh, wow.
So she, just like I posted in the group today, she's taking a dirt bike riding, which Dad's not super excited about, but I'm excited for her, right?
Right. Yeah. She's going to have fun.
Yeah, dude, she snowboards. I think she was trying to hit 100 days, I think, this year on snowboarding. So she'll work the night shift, get off, and then her and a bunch of them go and they, do 2 or 3 or 4 runs, and then they go home, sleep.
I hope she's carrying good medical insurcance.
She works at a hospital. So,
then she knows a guy or two, right?
Yeah, she knows a few people.
That's awesome.
No, man, I met my wife literally at church the very first Sunday that I was in San Angelo, Texas. And I attended the church that morning, and we met. And 3 months later, we were engaged. And 6 months later, we were married. And we've been together ever since. And so we've been it's a little bit different lifestyle because, as you know, we've worked together a lot through the years. We did about 17 years of full-time ministry. There's a few gaps in there where I worked with our family business or helped a brother-in-law or something else, but we started out in youth ministry, and then we did children's home work and a little bit of college ministry, but we did a lot of children's home work. So we did house parenting, eventually did development work for a children's home, and then eventually I ran an all-girls children's home in Wichita called Carpenter Place. Wow. Great home for young ladies that are struggling with whatever. It's all private placement, so it'd be a young lady that a mom, dad, grandparent, aunt, uncle, somebody placed with the home to help them.
Man, that is awesome work.
Yeah. So
I love your heart for that, man. 17 years of ministry, especially centered around youth ministry. I was in youth ministry for about 3.5 years full time. And prior to that was a lay person with 4th through like 7th grade or so. But that was It's a fun time. That's the best way
It
to
is.
describe it in a number of ways, sarcastically and literally. My
Yes.
wife's still involved with children's ministry at our church. And one of the greatest things about being in youth ministry is the things you go purchase. And they're like normal everyday things, but you buy them, like when you buy them together, it just makes it weird.
Yeah.
But just the other day, just yesterday, I had to go and buy six plungers
Oh,
for our
yeah.
children's ministry. And you're
Yeah, for
walking up
sure.
there and you're yeah, just ring them up. Don't ask. Okay.
We were digging through our boxes the other day, and my daughter was helping me, and she found a whole bag of handcuffs. Those like cheapy handcuffs.
Yeah.
Like there was
Yeah.
probably 30 of them in there. And it
Oh,
was
man.
some youth ministry game that we were playing, and everybody had to be cuffed together to do whatever it was because it was team building and
Yes. Oh,
super
man.
weird stuff, man.
One of the weirdest ones we ever had them do was pantyhose and chocolate pudding.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
had to put the pantyhose over the
Yep.
head and eat the chocolate
Eat the
pudding.
chocolate pudding. Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
we've
man.
done that. We've done it where you had to put the pantyhose over your head and there's a tennis ball in it and that had to
Yes.
wrap around, and we've done all kinds of stuff, man.
We tied them together. We would put
Oh, yeah.
pantyhose in either one, tie them together, and then they have to run.
Yeah.
And that was, man, those heads would whip back so much. Like I got a little scared that night, but that was, again, youth ministry is fun. So you're doing youth ministry, you're working with these children's homes. Man, what led to you now being this successful businessman? I mean, now there's time there, obviously, but Cory, like we were talking before we hit record, man, multiple businesses running multiple millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Now, for a guy that's in ministry right now, and then for many men and women across the country and in the world that are in ministry, the idea of having something like that a part of their life just seems so far-fetched. So, Cory, take us on a journey, man. Tell us about what started you into it, and then let's talk for a minute how you operated it as a side hustle. Because again, our target audience, man, we want guys to know that they can have success in life. It's not a bad thing, but they've got to make sure family and faith are a priority. So, take us on that journey.
Yeah. So we did full-time ministry for about 17 years. We were, I got burnt out at Carpenter Place. I was the CEO and the fundraiser and the grounds guy and the buildings guy and I was everything.
Yeah.
And got burnt out, and I was like, hey man, we got to do something different. Our daughter was probably freshman, sophomore at that time. And she had spent her whole life in ministry. Like she literally was born into ministry. And so we went and helped another children's home start a thrift store and kind of got it off the ground. And Michelle and I looked at each other one day, no money in the bank, in debt, had anything could have gone wrong at that point, and it would have been a disaster financially. Like we just didn't have the money to pay anything.
Wow.
And so we looked at each other and said, man, we got to do something different. And we need to spend some time with our daughter that's just us, not with 40 other kids that we're taking care of, not with, whatever. So we moved to Denton, Texas, and started a safety supply company initially. That's what my family has done for a long time. And I grew up kind of around a small, local, family-owned business. And we spent about 3 or 4 months, me just going out, calling on accounts, getting told no, and a lot of rejection and a lot of everything that you deal with when you start a business.
Yeah.
Had to take a loan out to get there, had to ask my dad for money to even move. Now, here I am, 40, and having to borrow money to get a moving truck to even be able to move, because we had literally spent all those years in ministry. Why? And I didn't make hardly anything. Even as a CEO, I think I made $50,000 a year or something.
Wow.
And so we moved to Denton, started that. Eventually we got, I got to the point where I was like, there's got to be a smarter way to do this. And I started looking into internet marketing. And that's when I kind of went down this journey of what I'm doing now. That was 9 years ago, literally this month, 9 years ago. And
congratulations.
Started down that path and tried to figure out, like, how can we create this safety supply company, and then how can we create this other business to where we could go do ministry. That was our whole goal from the very start. When we left full-time ministry, our goal was, how can we go create a business that would allow us to go full-time ministry without taking a paycheck? That was the whole goal. Now, I had no idea how we were going to do that, because I'd never been in a financial position to ever be able to do anything.
Yeah.
And so we started down the path, we started to create a little bit of income. That was 2014. So end of 2014, our little internet business was doing maybe $2 to $4 grand a month.
Mm.
And our safety business had built up to 30, 35, 40K a month. But it's cost of goods, it's inventory. Like we were only making $6, $7 grand a month off of that safety business. And that had to pay all the bills and everything else. Right.
Right.
And so, we got to the end of the year, oil field tanked. And we were like, man, we got to do something different. I don't want to go back out and do the whole safety thing all over again and go find new clients and all of that. Our business went from 30, 35, 40 to 15 in 1 month.
Oh my goodness.
And I set a goal in January 2015. I want to do $10,000 in 30 days in my internet marketing business. I had never made $10,000 in my life. In a month. And so I set out to do it. We did it in 37 days. And then something clicked. I don't know what it was. I just know that my thermostat grew. Like we always talk about, like, we're very comfortable wherever we're at, right? And if we could get what we want inside of our comfort zone, we'd already have it.
Yeah.
So if we've got to get outside our comfort zone, we've got to push past that. And my financial thermostat was just, it just wasn't very high. And all of a sudden we hit 10K in 37 days.
Wow.
And I was like, man, this makes sense. Then we went to 15K, 20K, 30K. We were doing about 35K within that first year that we were doing business a month. And I had one full-time employee and one part-time employee.
That's
it was
awesome.
Mostly profit, as you know, inside of the digital marketing.
Absolutely. That was one of the huge draws of digital storefronts. And so,
that's
great.
We started down that path.
Yeah. And now that happened, you said nine years ago, you started that. And so you got to this point. And then when did you, how old DSF? I don't even think I know that. Just for our listeners, DSF stands for Digital Storefronts. And Cory will expand a little bit more on what that is in just a minute. But it's the methodology, it's the network, it's the community. Like it's so much, and it's been so much to me. But when did you get to the place to start DSF?
Yeah, so we were probably a year and a half in to the program that I was in at the time. And I was running more money than anybody was in the program. So the second year in the program, I started to speak in Vegas on stage at their events. People were asking me, how do you do what you're doing? And, at the time, honestly, we got pretty caught up in running a business. And we sold the safety supply company at that point. And then I just went full in on this other business. About 2 years in, we landed a $45,000 a month client.
Wow.
It took us to 90K a month or more in total revenue. And we were running, at that point, we grew to about 18 employees. And remember, my goal was when we started was to be able to go do ministry work full time without taking a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right. And so I got pretty, I was excited. We were making money. Life was good in that sense. Right. But we had gotten away from our initial vision of what we were going to do. During that time period, we also found out my wife has multiple sclerosis. She's had it for, I don't even know how many years now. Since 1990, she was diagnosed. And so we also found out we had black mold in her house somewhere in that time period.
Oh, my goodness.
And so we moved back to San Angelo and actually moved in with her parents because we didn't know really what to do at the time. We were like, we just need to get out of the house. We got to get away from the black mold and see what her health's going to do.
Yeah.
And so we're growing this business. We moved back to kind of our home territory, start kind of growing all of that. I wake up one day and I'm going, this is great, but it's not what we set out to do at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And about 4 years ago, I had started to transition away from the other course. I could see where that was going and where those guys were headed. And that's not what I really wanted to do. And I had started I guess 5 to 6 years ago, I had started a free training called Marketing with a Mission. That the whole goal was and I gave it away. I literally went out to find ministers that were in my network and I would just give them free training.
Oh my goodness.
It sounds great.
I know, but I understand I understand why it's not. I'll let you explain, but
Yeah,
yeah,
when
no,
you do
go ahead.
something for free, you devalue it.
Yeah,
And nobody has any
absolutely.
value for it. And now it sounds good,
Hmm.
but what ended up happening is no one would do anything with it. And so
Yeah.
they'd get into the training and they were all excited about it because I gave it to them for free. And then they would do nothing. And
Hmm.
I had zero success out of that. And so I started charging a little bit of money for it. We started transitioning more into that because that was where my heart was helping ministers, ministry families, missionaries, church planners, people that were like me, that had spent all these years working and doing ministry work and all that and had zero money in the
Nothing to
bank,
show
had no
for it. Yeah.
retirement,
Mm.
right? And so um, that grew into, because I could see the writing on the wall, I needed to move on to my own thing.
Hmm.
That grew into me starting digital storefronts about 4 years ago.
Okay.
We met on Glorietta Church Camp's campus. Yeah, Glorietta. I guess it's called Glorietta Adventure Camps.
Okay.
I was there volunteering
Is
because
that in Texas?
it's in New Mexico. It's
Okay.
right outside of Santa Fe.
All right.
We had went full time, as you know, in an RV. So one day my
Yeah.
wife walks up and she goes, "Okay, it's time. Like, let's just go on the road. Let's go do what we set out to do in the first place."
Man, that's got to feel good.
We sold our house. We sold all of our belongings pretty much. We sold our goats. Man, dude, we were all in.
Hey, you sold the
And
farm. There you go.
we
Yeah.
literally bought a dually and a fifth wheel, and we started traveling and just serving at places. And so one of the very first places we ended up was Glorietta. We were serving there that summer, and I invited my partners in to the digital storefronts training. I invited them in, and we recorded our very first recordings for all of the training there.
Wow.
And we were on the road full time. We were on the road for 4.5-ish years. We just stepped off the road about 2 months ago, and we are now in Lubbock, Texas.
All right.
And anyway, we did that for about 4.5 years, and we just traveled and served at camps, churches,
Man, that's
nonprofits.
wonderful.
We went to recovery centers.
I
Anywhere
love
that
that.
somebody said, "Hey, we've got a toilet to scrub," or "We need grass mowed," or I filled in at churches and led worship and preached at one church one summer because there wasn't anybody there that could do it, and led
Yeah.
I
But
was
you
the
were
everything
available.
guy.
No
That's
cost to the church, no
yeah.
cost to the ministry there, just
No,
there,
and
man.
we would bless them, right? So
Yeah.
we would go and do those kinds of things, and I would buy, like, we bought mowers for one of the camps, and we bought
Yeah.
golf carts for one of the camps, and we did other crazy stuff for the camps. And I
Oh,
don't
I
know,
absolutely love it.
we had the resources and we had the time, so we just
Yeah.
blessed them.
And I want to speak to our listeners for just a minute, because like when you hear a story like this, right? One, it's almost, again, depending on your mindset, you can sit there and think like, wow, this guy, like so he's shooting these training videos. He got all this stuff up. He's got all this fancy equipment. He's got this, that, and the other. And like, guys, listen, I've been through Cory's training. It's him sitting behind a laptop
Right here.
with his headphones, like just like what he's doing right now, and training you on it, right? And so, like, honestly, Cory, I don't mean this disrespectfully. Like, the quality of the training videos is less than the quality of what I've got set up right here.
Way less.
But it's not about the quality; it's about the content. And I can tell you, the content's gold, platinum in some areas. But don't think that you've got to have all this stuff together. This was, Cory, you said it, like when you start out in business, you get all these roadblocks and things. And one thing I noticed when I got into DSF in 2020, right? I had questions, and right, I remember seeing the questions. And then after I was in it for like 6 months to a year, I realized that every single person that comes in has like the same questions.
Same questions.
And now what's funny is you answer most of them in the training. We don't want to watch the training. And so, so we ask them.
It's the
and
truth,
then,
man.
but one of the things that always comes up is, hey, look, it's move on. It's a roadblock. Do something else. Figure it out. Get it done. Because so many guys will want to give up or just go a different direction and stuff like that. And so like, full transparency to our listeners, I am a part of DSF. I'm very thankful. I'm not benefiting from Cory being here. He just said yes to do it, to speak to you guys, our audience, and as a blessing to me. And so, and I told Cory I would share this. Like, I jumped into DSF. It's digital marketing and it's training for that. And I'll let him share more in just a minute. But for me, like, I have that in my back pocket. I've not grown a multi-million-dollar business with it or anything like this, like Cory's done, but it opened my eyes to the world of business and how to operate, and really allowed me to see what's possible when Christians decide to take the money back from the devil is the best way for me to say it. Pastor Jason Brown in San Diego, California said it to me one time. Money's been in the hands of the devil long enough. It's time for Christians to take it back. Because when Christians make money and have the heart like Cory does, we're able to take it and we're able to bless people with it. We're able to do so much with it. Because, misquoted Bible verse, money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is. So we don't make money so we can keep it. We make money so we can give it away and bless people with it. That's exactly what Cory's done through his own digital marketing adventures and then selling the training through digital storefronts and marketing with a mission. And now he's got another business. He's getting ready to, I'm assuming based on the post I've seen, Cory, you're about to set up some training for epoxy business. Is that right?
We have a lot of businesses in motion at the moment. So we started an epoxy company about a year and
it wasn't long. I remember the first post you putting up of it.
Yeah, we are already at 7 figures in that business, and we sit down and these guys. I started this with 2 of my high school best friends, guys that I grew up with in our little bitty tiny school. That they wanted to change for their family. One of them wanted to spend more time at his church doing his thing. They wanted to be able to give to the mission field. They wanted to be able to do things. They wanted to just go bless people's socks off. And so we started the epoxy company with that goal in mind. And it's already grown into a 7-figure business. And I'm meeting with one of the guys here tomorrow because they're going to be putting epoxy flooring in our new garage so that we can use it as a showpiece for our new market because we're opening Lubbock up now. And so that's one of the companies that we started that will have its own training to teach people how to start an epoxy business. We also are starting another thing called Kingdom Builders Mindset Mastery. I've started that with another coach that's been around in the coaching space for decades. And so she and I are putting that together. We have our first founders group. Here's what I'm learning. And this is exactly what you just said a minute ago. Guys, this is all mindset, man. Yeah. The skill and the widget can be found all kinds of places, whether it's digital storefronts, whether it's epoxy, whether it's something else, it's all mindset. And Absolutely. So, they always talk about how it's basically an 80-20 or a 90-10 rule. Right? 20% is maybe the skill set. The rest of it's all mindset. And so as you're going through and you're growing something, just like you probably went through, like we were broke. We were struggling to pay the bills when we were growing the business. There were times when I wanted to throw the laptop through the window. There were times when
Google will make you do that, but that's a whole nother issue itself.
Like I'm not a techie guy at all. And so
I want to attest to this. He is not. It was sometimes painful to watch him go through the trainings.
It is painful. And the reason that I did the training is to show people that somebody that doesn't have the skill set can do this business. Because I could have just had one of my guys do it. This is what they do every day. They could just and fly through it. And so I wanted to show people that anybody could do this. So we have full-time staff now. We've got guys that are full-time church planners that are making 6 figures a year. Side hustle, 2 or 3 days a week, working 15-hour weeks on their internet business. Like it is that's the power of this stuff. But again, it goes back to mindset. You nailed it earlier. There's a lot of beliefs that we have about God and money. In fact, we're writing a book about that right now, about how Scripture views money, because we have all these weird beliefs about money that really just are not in Scripture.
No, not at all. Not at all. I grew up thinking, I grew up in Northeast Tennessee. I always say I grew up in a backwoods Baptist church. I'm very thankful for my bringing up and things like that. But nonetheless, I remember growing up, seeing people with nice homes and things like that, and having the thought of like, oh wow, they're selfish, they're ungodly, they're this, they're that, and and like none of that's true at all. And I want to stick on mindset because we've got about 5 more minutes here, Cory. Okay. And I want to go on mindset for just a minute. Going back to your mindset shift, you said you kind of got away from in growing the business, things are going well. And then you kind of woke up one morning and realized like, man, this is not it. So again, our target audience, we're talking to guys that we want to see success. And some of them may be where you were, right? They're seeing success, but man, their family's struggling, their faith is struggling. Like talk for just a minute in that transition period. What was that like for you going from, okay, hey, we've made it. Wait a minute, we forgot. We got to get back to the right thing. How was that?
Yeah, during that time. So here's what I found about myself. I spent a lot of time in ministry. Like every Sunday, every Wednesday, I was teaching class. I was leading worship. I was planning events. I worked in churches mostly that were 200 to 300 members, so kind of smaller congregations. I was usually the youth minister and blah, 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 blah. Like I had 20 different hats, right? And so I've learned about myself that I need to be doing ministry no matter what I'm doing. Now I get to do ministry in my business. I get to minister to small business owners. I get to minister to my students. I get to minister to all kinds of people that I come in contact with. Great.
That is another thing, like with
Whole different
money,
world.
like a lot of people, especially ministry, we think we have to be in ministry, full-time vocation in order to minister. But, oh man, that is so wrong.
We get
so
to touch so many people. Like I have, for some of the clients that we have, I am the only Christian that they really know.
Wow.
And so they will call me and they're like, hey man, I know you're a minister, you were a past minister, or you're a minister now, or they'll call me all kinds of whatever their name is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
You're
get
the
that.
pastor, reverend, preacher, I don't know, whatever their name is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, what's going on? You know, and I'll have clients spill their guts to me about marital issues or kid issues or problems in their family or whatever. And, you know, because I'm the only guy they know. And so I get to minister to people in that way that I would never touch inside of a typical church setting.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends that I'm writing this book with is he's a full-time church planner. And he told me the other day, he goes, I love being an internet marketer. I can go out in the community. I can shake hands. I tell him, hey, man, I run a marketing company here in the community. Now, what's cool is he'll invite him to church. He won't tell him that he's going to stand up there and preach on Sunday. And then all of a sudden he walks up to the pulpit and he's going, hey, man, appreciate you guys are here. And they're going, wait, that's my internet marketing guy, right? And he loves it because it takes the walls down. People don't see him as a minister now. They see him as a business owner in the community. They treat him different. They talk to him different. They do all of that differently. And so mindset for me shifted. At some point, what I saw was I needed to be doing ministry. We started working with Young Life College. College is like one of my favorite groups to work with. They're spunky. They'll tell you what they think. They don't hold anything back. They're just real and raw. And so I approached the Young Life leader there in San Angelo and I said, man, put us to work, dude. Whatever you want us to do, I'll come set chairs up for you. I don't even care. Mm-hmm. And so we showed up and he gave us a small group. We started with 7 or 8 kiddos. By Christmas that year, we had like 60, 70 kids in our house. And it was supposed to like keep splitting out into different small groups, but none of the kids would leave. And so, man, we started getting back into that again. And it started reminding me of who I was and what I was about and what I should have been about. Because it's real easy when you start to create money, you start to create income and you start to have success, man, it's real easy to get caught up in that, especially when you've spent pretty much our whole married career barely making it, barely able to pay for anything, barely able to send our kid to this camp or do this thing or be a part of this sport or whatever. And all of a sudden now we have all this additional income that we have that we would not have had. And it's amazing to see how that began to shift and change us. And then when we started to kind of get back into that ministry mindset, like I would meet him at the campus at ASU and we just go hand out donuts. And we just tell kids, hey man, just wanted to give you a donut today. Like it didn't matter to me. It didn't matter to me what we were doing. We were just going and ministering. So then we'd have kids showing up at our house. We had kids staying at our house. It was back into ministry again. And for a while I'd veered away from that and my mindset had gotten kind of warped in the sense of I was chasing the business and I was chasing the money and I was chasing the stuff. And, we had a lot of success. We had months where we did $100,000 in profit, like pure profit in the pocket. Wow. That's phenomenal. Well, when you don't have, you're talking about backwoods church, right? Mm-hmm. Like when you don't have the financial IQ to handle that, and you don't have the basis to handle that, you don't handle it well. So we bought a lot of toys and we did all this stuff and then we sold it all. Yeah. Because
that's awesome.
In a very short amount of time, we figured out that's not who we wanted to be and that's not what we were about. And we completely shifted gears.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that, you made it and then you found yourself drifting as any of us could and would probably. But God in his grace brings you back. You see that, you open it, you go after it with the same zeal that you
that's
even
right.
went after the business to grow it to where it was. And now, I mean, just impacting so many lives. I love the DSF community and things. Cory, let's wrap up for just a minute. I want you, if you don't mind, take a couple seconds because I'm going to talk to our listeners. I want you to be thinking about a guy. Man, let's say he is 32 years old. He has got two kids at home and he's barely scraping by, right? His wife's there and, they are just needing some help and stuff. Like, what do you want to tell that guy that hears this? Like, man, this guy went 9 years in multi-million-dollar companies. Like, what would you tell that guy to get from where he's at? And I mean, sure, to where you are, because one thing I'll say is anything is possible, especially if
Anything.
it's God's will for you, right? And so to where you are, or at least just to the next place to be out of that. Be thinking about that for a second. Let me talk to our listeners. All right, guys, look, Cory has given so much of his story and stuff today, and I wanted that to be an encouragement to you. He has given, we haven't talked about it yet. We've been talking about DSF, digital storefronts, and our subscribers are going to get, I'm hoping, a little bit of an inside peek to some of that. Cory is going to bring some value there that's going to help them if they'd like to kind of jump in that direction to set themselves up. But Cory's opened up for every listener that we have that would like to get a free book from him. You can go to, let me pull up, make sure I got the link here. It's www.dsfbook.com. www.dsfbook.com. That's going to be in the show notes for you to click on. And Cory, take a second before you answer my question and explain that book, because I forgot to even ask you, like, what's in
Yeah.
that? So talk about that, then answer the
Yeah.
question, then we'll close out.
So we wrote the book to just tell people, hey, here's our journey. Here's what I went through. So it's got some of my story in it. And then it talks really about the core pieces of our business, what we do, how we do it. From a high level point of view, you could take what I teach in the book and actually go take action on it, and you could
Yeah.
create some income from it. So it's just a very simplified version of what we do in a book form. You could read it in one evening. It is not a real thick book. It was designed just to be able to give people an idea of what we do and really help them to see what we do. So yeah,
I love it.
I would love to give as many of those away. You'll go to that link, put in your address and stuff, and we'll ship you a free book. And we just want you to thrive, man. That's
That's
all it's
awesome.
all about.
Yeah, Cory, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's have that conversation. Talk to that guy, that 33-year-old guy barely making it in ministry, or maybe he's not in ministry. Maybe he's out there working, some storefront, small business, and he's just struggling. Like, what helps him get that next mindset as a follower of Jesus?
So here's what I would tell you. Very first thing is I would go surround yourself with people that are already where you want to be,
That's
or at
good.
least get around people that are moving in the direction that you want to be.
Yeah.
Because this is not something that you're going to do on an island. You need people around you that help you level up and change your thermostat. And if you do not have that, I mean, bad company corrupts good character, but we also know that even beyond that, bigger than that, we've got to get around people that are who we want to be. And when we get around those people, it levels us up. It teaches our brain that, hey, this is normal. Like I wore the badge of, I'm the poor youth minister, I'm the broke youth minister for a lot of years. And that was also not good. And so,
No,
it's just as bad as, being whatever on the other side of
right.
that spectrum. So I would say surround yourself with people. That's the very first thing I would do, man. You got to get around somebody that changes your mindset, because until the mindset changes, you can go do you can buy programs, you can read books, you can do all the stuff you want to do. But until you get around people that are going to hold you accountable, they're going to move you in a direction, it is really hard to move yourself. Because again, you have to get outside your comfort zone to get to that next level. I would find a vehicle that already has been shown to work. It doesn't have to be DSF. There's a gazillion ways to make money right now. Probably
Yeah.
we are in the most
Lucrative.
abundance. The abundant world that we live in right now, that there's a gazillion ways to make money online. Even just the new AI stuff that's out. You learn prompts and you could go make a gazillion dollars at night, sitting in front of your computer for an hour after you've done your shift. Like there's so many ways right now to create income. But I'll tell you, again, the very first thing I would go do is I would go try to find somebody in your church community, in your community, online, somewhere that you can go, hey man, I need iron sharpens iron. right?
Yeah.
I need somebody to come alongside, and I need to be held accountable, and I need to level up, and I need somebody to push me, and I need somebody to change my mindset.
Man,
Because
that is gold right there. And Cory, I don't even think I mentioned it to you even before we recorded or anything, but guys, what he just said to you, what I heard was go be a part of the Men After God Facebook community.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Go to facebook.com/groups/Men After God, and you'll get in there with myself, some of our other coaches, and then you've got just the people in there for their whole purpose. They are there to achieve success in life with a thriving faith and family. And let me tell you right now, if you post in there, tag me and say, Dustin, I want to be held accountable to grow a business. I'm going to DM you. I'm going to talk to you. We are going to get you accountability. We're going to help you out. We're going to point you in the right direction. And one of the greatest things you can do is jump on our coaching program that's in development that's coming out in the next few months. And that is going to be what's going to help you give a framework to keep your faith and your family as a priority as you pursue after what it is God has for you and either financial success or whatever it is that you're going after. And so, man, Cory, I really appreciate your interview today. I love just hearing more of your story because, again, you've had this major impact on my life and just indirectly. You and I have talked on the phone one other time because part of my package when I bought it was a 30-minute phone call with you. And I remember that was actually, so I'm recording in our church, right? And I remember I was over in the stairwell just talking to you. And I remember even thinking like, I don't even know what to ask right now, right? I'm brand new to this. Like, what do I do? And so you were very kind, very gracious, very helpful. And I really enjoyed that. And then just seeing DSF grow and the people it's impacted. We just did that fundraiser for one of your staff members, man. I don't remember her name, but it's just been so great. And guys, I if you want to check more into this, Cory, where can they go? So we got the book link. Is there anywhere, I guess, what is the public Facebook group you got out there? What's the best way for them to get more information about DSF?
Yeah, Digital Business with a Mission is a free group you can join. That's on Facebook. It is just basically it's a group to where I drop nuggets in there, drop ways to make a little money in there. I drop mindset things in there like I did today. It's just a place for me to be able to engage with people that are like-minded. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of people in there.
Yeah.
And it's a place for you if you really want to know who I am and what I'm about. It's a good place to go. You'll get the Kingdom Impact calls that I do every month. You'll get other things that I do that are just things that are for my network and my group of people. We're all on the same page, man.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as scarcity in our world.
No. We have the God who owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. Like it's just, there's so much there. We've just got to go after it.
That's
Cory,
right.
thank you so much, guys. Hey, listen, if you're listening to this, if you've heard it, go check out that book that Cory's offering you. I can tell you it was used to change my life, or not the book, but his content, his network, what he's doing. God used that in a great way in my life. I hope he'll use it that way in yours. Thanks for your time, Cory. Guys, we're going to get off here. If you're not a paid subscriber, you're going to miss out on the fire he's about to bring whenever I hop off this recording and we jump on another one. So if you'd like to get a hold of that, you go to patreon.com/menaftergod. You can sign up there. We're still doing our founding member package, $8.33 a month. You get a free piece of merch. You get 4 coaching calls with me, a coaching call with our fitness coach, our relationship coach, and our finance coach. You get shout outs on our website and on our Facebook page. And just to get to be known as always a founding member of this Men After God movement, because we're excited for where God is going to take it. Until next time, I hope that you'll continue being the man that God made you to be. Thanks again, Cory.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Men After God podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and keep up with the show by following us at facebook.com/menaftergod. You can also reach out to Dustin personally at dustin@seekconsulting.us with any questions or for coaching on being a man after God. Until next time.